Welcome to Express Drives, and this is exciting times for Volkswagen. And today we have Ashish Gupta with us. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I know it's an extremely hectic time for you, but we'll start off talking about Volkswagen's ambitious plans. Some would even say it's a gutsy plan, to take on the sedan segment. So let's first talk about your new sedan, the Virtus. Yeah. And what are you expecting from this new sedan?
See, I think, if you quintessentially look at what a car is defined as, if you ask somebody or even if ourselves to draw a car, we would still draw a sedan. Yeah. So the sedan still remains the quintessential car. So the love of sedans has not gone away. Just to take the first part of your question. You call it gutsy. I think it's a good opportunity that exists in the market, which we are trying to enter into. If you look at the sedan segment itself, the sedan segment actually grew by almost 28% last year. And primarily the sedan segment has been held back by the lack of good options for the customers. A good European sedan, I think, can make a difference, and that's exactly what the Virtus provides. So I'm pretty confident that the Virtus will actually reimagine and redefine the segment.
And the sedan of yours, you are not just wanting to be a part of the segment, but also lead the segment. Yeah. So in terms of that, what are the numbers or percentage you can share with us?
Okay, if you look at the sedan segment as of now, I'm talking about the premium mid-size sedan segment where the Virtus is going to be introduced. Last year, it was around 80 to 85,000 cars in the entire Indian market. What we are looking at is that with the introduction of our car and also from our sister brand, the segment is poised to expand to around 140,000. And we are looking at around a 20% segment share. So that's around 28 to 30,000 cars a year.
And Volkswagen's always been positioned as a premium brand. And as a package, what does the Virtus actually bring into the segment on the table that will set it apart from the others?
Typically, if you look like, as I said, the sedan is the quintessential car, the three-box sedan. And that's what the Virtus is. It's big. It's big in every aspect that you look at it. It's big by design. It is the longest car in the segment. It is the widest car in the segment. It is the car which offers the best, leg room, the interior room. The wheelbase is the longest in the segment. It's best in performance. It's big by performance as such. Both the variants of both the lines of the Virtus are going to be equipped with the TSI engine, whether it is the 1 liter or the 1.5. So performance, no compromises there. Big by connectivity, I think it's loaded with connectivity features. Big by convenience, big by comfort. In any way you look at it, it is a big car. So that's what I think it brings a wholesome package to this segment, a package which actually redefines what a big car or what a premium midsize sedan should be.
So basically a total package. Yes. In terms of localization content, that has been a bit of a challenge, not just for Volkswagen, for a lot of European car makers as well. And in your India 2.0 strategy, could you specify what actually the challenges there were?
See, I think localization, and when I say localization, it is more to do with deep localization, actually sourcing the sub-components also from the local market. So that's what the effort has been with the India 2.0, with the MQB-A0ion platform. How can we go in for more and more deep localization? So of course it is quite challenging because the standards that Volkswagen Group sets worldwide, to bring those standards here, to make sure that all the components are produced to those standards, the supply chain actually comes up to those standards is always a tough part. But I think the engineering and the sourcing teams have done a brilliant job, brought in the right know-how, the right technology, whether it is developed in India or getting the right partners on board. So yes, it has been challenging, but now we are at almost the finale of the India 2.0, and the success of the deep localization speaks for itself.
So this ways you can also change that mindset about expensive ownership costs.
Yeah, definitely. That is something which has been always a feedback for our cars previously, also to do with a lot with the high import content that we used to have with our cars. So right from the start of the India 2.0 project, our focus was to make sure that cost of ownership becomes a part of the project goals. When it is part of the project goals, it means the car is designed ground up, keeping cost of ownership in mind. Things like localization, higher localization, of course, help in bringing down the cost of parts. Plus, in the design stage itself, we have taken care to design or to make more and more sub-components available. Instead of changing a whole assembly, you only change a small part which might have had an issue. This itself brings down, the cost of ownership to a large extent. Along with that, a lot of other efforts have been made. For example, bringing down the cost of our engine oils, bringing down the cost of our general parts. So a wholesome effort, I think, but this was an integral part of the entire India 2.0 project.
So, we'll have to talk about this, about electric vehicles. Now, not just because everybody's talking about it, because Volkswagen globally has a huge range, especially in that mass market range, which is unique. Can we expect something here in India as well?
I think the right way for the brand to go forward into India is electrification. That's where the world is moving to, and that's where definitely the brand has taken a decisive step to move globally as well. We have taken a pledge to be carbon neutral by 2050, and our stated strategy is way to zero. So under that, definitely we have to move across the world into electrification. As far as India is concerned, I think the market is currently in a very nascent stage. Electrics still constitute around 0.5% of the market. But the good thing is that it is doubling every year. So I foresee that by 2025, the market or the electrics will constitute around 5% of the overall market, which is a good critical mass to be entering with our portfolio in some way. That's what I call mass electrification, moving towards mass electrification. So definitely, if we have to transform, we will do that in the second half of this decade. But from here to that stage of mass electrification, there is a long path to be bridged, for which we are lucky to be part of such a big group where many of the electric cars are available off the shelf. So now we have to think about getting some cars into India, testing the entire ecosystem, because it's not only about introducing a car. It's also about, where is the energy coming from? How do you, dispose of the batteries? What kind of technical capabilities, what kind of charging capabilities are required? So all of that has to be prepared. So our endeavor, I think, over the next 2 or 3 years would be to test the market with our global, products, and then move towards electric transformation in the second half of the decade.
I mean, you hit the nail right there. I mean, one is infrastructure, and the other thing is what do you do with the battery recycling process as well. Yeah. But do you also feel that, there are obviously alternate fuels? Now, let's say hybrid, for instance, there are some companies who are putting in a lot of effort in that. Do you see that as something that can easily be the next solution before EV becomes a more of a viable option?
See, I think part of this entire transformation towards electrics is also driven by a climate consciousness. Okay. So as a first step, it's not something which we are doing right now. As a first step, we actually decided very clearly around 3 years back that we are moving out of diesels. Okay. So in India, we moved out of diesels around 3 years back and moved to a totally a petrol only, portfolio. And that to a TSI, which is more fuel efficient. So if you look at our 1 liter and 1.5 liter TSI engines right now, they are one of the most fuel efficient engines in their category. So some part of meeting that climate consciousness goal, we have already done with moving away from diesel and moving to TSI technology. But there are a lot of technologies available, as you said. You have hybrid. Some people are talking about hydrogen. Some people believe more in the battery electrics. I think for us, the way ahead is battery electrics. Yeah. Of course, we do have plug-in hybrids available in our portfolio worldwide, but we will be focusing, when we transform into electrification, more on battery electrics.
Well, thank you for taking the time out, and we really can't wait to drive the Virtus. And thank you again for being part of the Express Drive show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.